All right, welcome in.
Hey, welcome back. We're look every day we're getting
Getting a
a little bit
another
better,
piece of the puzzle.
just a little bit. We'll have entrance music next week.
All right,
We'll have
welcome
entrance
in.
music next week. We think
You think
maybe,
so?
probably. I think so. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You're
I don't
putting
know.
faith
Hey,
in me
what's
with
up?
that.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. Welcome in, Great North Sports. It's Armchair. That's Dubs. We got so much stuff to talk about because we have 2 weeks worth of stuff to cover in our little hour here. But I wanted to start with the most important news, the breaking news of the hour. Dubs found his pen.
I
Let's
did.
go.
I couldn't find my pen all
Dubs
day.
found the pen
I found my pen.
all day long. Couldn't found it.
Benjamin
Found his
Franklin has
pen.
been acquired. I found it.
Benjamin Benjamin Franklin has been
Benjamin
reacquired
Watson. It's another fan favorite.
for player to be named later and potentially cash. But so happy to hear it. No,
Technically, yeah, the
we're gonna open.
cash was involved in the purchasing of, I guess, the
Cash is
acquisition of
always
said pen.
we never talk basketball, but I felt like this was too big to not even chat about. But Luka Doncic, member of the LA Lakers, how bad did Dallas bungle this?
So bad that every like shit. Shams had to put in the tweet like, "This is real. I was not hacked. Stop saying I was hacked. This is in fact real and happening." Like that. That's how crazy this trade was. I think
It's a
it's the
bungle.
biggest trade in NBA history for sure, and it's up there in sports history. Like, this is earth shattering. This doesn't happen. The only time a player of this caliber has ever been traded before was Anthony Davis, and now Luka Doncic was traded for Anthony Davis.
Wayne Gretzky got dealt. That was pretty big.
I'm talking NBA, but yes,
NBA, that's fine.
yeah,
I guess that's like the closest sports equivalent. Baseball stars
probably.
get traded every year.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it's
baseball
not,
superstars get traded a lot,
this
right?
is different. There's a top three player in the world,
I know.
fresh off a finals appearance where he was clearly the best player on the court, and that's coming from a Celtics fan. Like,
He
Luca is
is
all world.
one of the best players in the world,
He averaged 33 points
undeniably.
per game last year, damn near a triple double. The guy's got like 80 something triple doubles, and he's 25. By the
But
way,
Dubs,
25.
he might be fat. He might be fat.
I don't. He could have put on another 50 pounds, and I wouldn't have cared in the slightest.
Paging Phil Kessel. Paging Phil Kessel.
If like this was such a big deal, if weight was such a big deal, Zion would have been out of New Orleans the second he got there. I mean, that
He's
guy's
been
been trying to
trying to eat
get out of
himself
there
out of
for
New
so
Orleans.
long. Like,
He's been trying to eat himself. He's like, just give me beignets until I am
this
gone.
just doesn't happen. Like, again,
Makes
Luca
no
was
sense.
in the finals last year, and then seemingly overnight, the franchise has soured on him and decided to ship
But
everything out for Anthony
it's not the
Davis.
franchise because it wasn't Mark Cuban. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Mark Cuban was hands off this deal.
Chandler Parsons texted him and goes, "I'm confused." And he goes, "That makes two of us." Oh, Mark
Yeah.
Cuban had no idea this was happening.
If you ever listen to an interview with Mark Cuban, he will talk about how incredible Luca is
With
and
that
how
quote
like
that's
he was.
resurfaced, where he's like, "If I had to choose between my wife and Luca, you catch me at the divorce court on Monday." Like,
He loves Luca. He was a big fan. I don't think he's happy about this.
nobody
I get
is. They were
the
holding funerals outside of the arena with his jersey. Like, that's the
see
other
you
thing
again.
too. Is like some guys like when you leave in free agency, you become the enemy. Like LeBron getting his jerseys burned at two separate occasions, but
Twice.
I, like Luka's never gonna have that in Dallas. They shipped him out in his prime for an aging, injury-prone Anthony Davis. Your issue with Luka to get rid of him was because of his conditioning. How often has Anthony Davis been not on the
There's
court? Like,
there was one instance where this has happened in the NBA, but it wasn't with a player that was this good, but it was with a player who was this beloved. That's when the Raptors shipped off Vince Carter.
yeah,
He went to his graduation, and Raptors fans have booed him ever since. He just wanted to go to his graduation, and they were like, "Nah, man, we need you here."
we're gonna
And
need
then
you
he could
here.
play, and then he hot dogged, and then he got out of there, and then he played for like 37 other NBA teams, and now he's welcomed back. But uh, that's the level of like shock we're talking about. I don't think you can underplay it. Um,
It's
there were other.
the
It
craziest
did.
part of the trade to me is not even that it happened. Like that obviously is a shock factor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the fact that it was done in such secrecy that only one team negotiated with the Mavericks about the possibility of a Luka Doncic trade, and they can defend it by saying, "Well, there's only one guy we would have traded him for, and that's Anthony Davis." Michael Bridges netted 5 first-round picks. Look at the haul that it takes to get a star player in today's NBA. It's always pick swaps, and that's the NBA's favorite term nowadays is pick swaps. You have a swap pick swap. It takes 3, 4, 5 first-round picks and young players to make a deal like this happen. And again, Anthony Davis is an all-world player. Do I think this makes the Mavericks better today? Possibly. It might. Luka Doncic is again an all-world player, but
What do you do with that? Like, how do you justify trading
how do you justify
your
not
franchise?
shopping him? If you've decided, all right, this is what's going to happen. We are too afraid of Luka's conditioning person, whatever it might be, to give him the supermax contract. Shop him around and get the highest offer.
Yeah, it
There's
seems
going
kind
to
of
be
counter.
so many GMs that are going to
Jimmy
jump at the opportunity. Again, I just told you the amount of capital like Michael Bridges nets. Like it's
Jimmy
crazy.
Butler is being shopped. Jimmy Butler's being shopped around, and he doesn't want to be there. Imagine what you could have gotten for a franchise player who's 25.
25. He's 25. There's like
So ridiculous.
6 or 7 guys in the NBA that have 6 All NBA awards, and Luke is one of them, and he's only 25.
He's
Like the
stupid
kid's
good.
unstoppable. Yeah, I think yesterday or the day before was the 1 year anniversary of his 70 point game. He went 70,
Yeah.
12, and 8. Can you imagine if he dropped a 70 point triple double? That's
Oh,
fucking insanity.
he's gonna break Kobe's 80
Yeah, at some point, probably against the
this
Mavericks the next time he
against the
sees them.
Mavericks.
Did
Yeah,
you see his
against the Mavericks.
introductory press conference?
Yeah, a little bit.
That when Pelinka started talking about the Mavericks, you could see Luka just die inside. Like there is a rage inside that man that's going to come out the second that he gets to play in Dallas.
I think
Um,
someone said he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He has a log on his shoulder.
yeah, for real.
He is ready. I don't like the disrespect he must feel. Like he
To not
basically
only
got discharged
go,
like trash.
yeah, and he got money stolen from him because he can no longer sign the supermax. So not
hmm
only did they go, hey, sorry, you're fat. We don't trust you. We don't think you're worth the money. We not only do we not think all those things, we also don't even want you. We're going to trade you to LA and bet against you for the rest of your career. I hope the Mavs never get past the Lakers in the Western Conference for the rest of time. I hope they have to run into Luka every single year in the playoffs.
Not a Laker enjoyer, and obviously you aren't either as a Celtics fan.
No,
But I kind of want to see the Lakers go on a run now, just for shits. Like
it
the
would
way
be
I want to see
hilarious.
Saquon win. I would love to see Luca just go on a run. That's it.
Nico Harrison, hey, you better fucking win. You better win like this year or next, because not only is that and I'm sorry, you can say you have a deal in place or negotiated whatever. Kyrie Irving is not to be trusted as the face of your franchise, and he hasn't even put pen to paper yet. He could be in LA next year too. Like this could
Kyrie Irving
backfire on epic proportions for the Dallas Mavericks.
Kyrie Irving has shown you every chance he can get exactly who he is, and he's not that guy. He's not the build a franchise around guy.
No.
If he was, he'd still be a Cavalier.
If he
I'm
was,
just
he'd
saying.
still be a Celtic. If he was, he'd still be on the
Oh yeah,
Nets.
I know. I know.
It's the same
He's
story
gone.
everywhere he goes, and this would just be the
Yes.
final cherry on top. The final Kyrie, fuck you. Like, now, actually,
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go
Another
play
Ben
with Luca
Simmons.
and LeBron.
Another Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving. There are a billion of them in the NBA. You can assume that you're going to find them. We also had big trades in the NHL. We had two of them, and one almost. JT Miller.
How
Let's start
almost
with
was
him.
the almost?
I don't know. I heard that Pedersen was almost a Carolina Hurricane.
Oh, I thought you were
Until
talking
they
about the
traded
Sid
for-
rumors.
No, this I don't think that one's happening.
I don't
Elias
either.
Pettersson, I believe, was almost a Carolina Hurricane, but they didn't like the return they were getting. Understandably so, because then they went out and got Mikko Rantanen, which is like, what are we even talking about here? Like, what a deal that was for Carolina. But like, how short-sighted of Colorado. Like a week later, they were like, "Oh yeah, next year the cap's going up." They're like, we can't sign Miko, guys. And then the cap goes up, and they're like, we probably could have signed Miko. It's brutal. It wasn't good. He wants 13 million or something like that a year. I don't know. Where do you fall on this Miko Rantanen deal?
I feel like it was probably pretty mutual for both teams. Like, very rarely does that happen where you're like, I mean, this is pretty even on both sides, especially when a player of Miko Rantanen's magnitude is involved in the deal. Um, but the Avalanche are never going to be able to keep McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar. They're going to have to choose two of the three. And
Maybe
Rantanen
cap's
just
going up.
cap's going up. Are you really going to have three $12 million players under your contract? Is that
Toronto
really?
Maple Leafs.
I mean, how's that working out? What have they won lately?
They won the first round once. They got a they got to the first round once.
They almost won
One
that
time.
that bracket you sent me earlier.
That's true. They
The
did. They were
miserable
pretty
fan
close.
bracket.
Yeah, we'll talk about that near the end. Uh,
uh,
they're
I don't,
it's you're right. Of course they couldn't do it, but like they probably could have found a better way to
it
do it.
hurts, dude. Sometimes this stuff has to happen in hockey. I mean, all
It
sports and
does.
every sport, but I don't think it's beneficial. He talks about this with the Shisterkin contract. Like how much money can you put into
On one guy.
right? Especially when you already have a guy like McKinnon getting paid. Makar's about to set a record for a defenseman contract. Like this
Better.
was gonna happen, and it's not like the Dallas Mavericks who now put themselves into a window with these older players. Like you have Nathan McKinnon, you have him locked up.
You have Kemba.
Your window, you have Cam Makar. Your window's not 2, 3, 4 years. You need to look ahead in the long term. How are you going to keep this team competitive
They're
year in and year out?
they're competitive. They're competitive for the next. They're Stanley Cup competitive for the next 3 years without making any additions.
Correct.
Period. Like
And
without
not
if they did
signing
nothing,
Rantanen gives them a lot of leeway to do more things. And you get
it
the
does.
draft capital from Carolina in this exchange too.
I would argue that Carolina is competitive now and maybe next year.
Yeah.
I think that their
Carolina
window is
knows
closer to closed than
Carolina
it is to
knows
open.
they've struck out a few times now.
They've
And
been on the edge.
they really needed to land another big superstar talent, and this is that. They got Rantanen, and not only that, but they also got a former Hart winner in Taylor Hall from Chicago too, who basically took half of Rantanen's salary, I believe
Yeah,
Chicago did. It's like
yeah,
50%
yeah.
or something. So I don't know. I really like the deal for Carolina, and it was a necessary evil for Colorado, in my opinion.
Vancouver also made a deal, and they shipped JT Miller.
Before we get to that, let's not act like Colorado got nothing back too. They got
Oh, they did. They
Carolina's
got a lot.
leading point guy in Nishis,
Yes,
and they got a second round
Nicias
pick
is
and a fourth
great.
round pick for a guy that they were probably not going to be able to sign in a few months.
Their haul was fine. I think the focus is on Carolina because the players of immediate impact are
Are
there.
there right?
Nietzsche will fit in, and he'll be fine eventually. I think he's starting to come around to. He had a rough first night. It's like
Yeah.
-2, no points. It was not a good look, but he'll be fine. He just needs to get used to that system. Anybody playing with Nathan McKinnon has to speed up,
I mean, look how
and
good
he'll
look
figure
how
it out.
good Carolina was this year. How many good players are on
Yeah,
that team, and he was the leading
I
scorer.
know. I know. They got a good haul. They got a good haul.
Okay,
It's not. It was a solid haul.
let's get to the beef.
Uh, well, there have been reported. I mean, there's been rumors. I don't know if it's
Allegedly,
been.
allegedly,
Both guys have come out and said it's nothing, but it's clearly
it's
something
clearly
because
something.
your coach has been talking about it. Miami Heat is getting Jimmy Butler. Breaking news.
What?
They're trading Butler to Golden State.
Oh,
for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and Kyle Anderson, plus a first-round pick.
Shh. That's pretty
That's a
big.
haul.
That's a lot.
Oh wow. Okay, sorry to interrupt. We have breaking news. This doesn't happen on our show ever. We never get break. We
No,
usually
not
we're
at 8
either too
o'clock.
late or too early.
Yeah.
Miami Heat are sending Jimmy Butler to Golden State for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, a protected first-round pick per Shams.
That's a lot.
Sheesh.
That's a lot for a guy that was never going to play another minute in Miami. And I know Golden State was calling around asking on every single superstar in the league. That has been the story going around the last couple days. To settle on Jimmy is kind of surprising to me. Especially giving up that many pieces. Like, obviously, he's going to slide into where Wiggins was starting. Like, I get that.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Man.
I don't know. That's a lot.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, whatever. That's your breaking news.
Was that more of a haul than the Mavericks got?
Yes, it was. It was. That's quite the payout for a guy that had no.
Was never
going
to play there again.
So like Miami,
but again,
I feel like Miami.
I'm shocked that that's the guy Golden State settled on. Are they done?
That's a W for Miami. It's a huge win for Miami. Dennis Schroeder's solid. Getting a first-round pick is solid. Like you got rid of a guy who wasn't going to play for you, and you ended up with it at minimum a protected first-rounder. Like you're fine.
Yeah, we take those. If I'm Miami, I'm happy.
Anyway, JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, one of the Petterssons. There are 3 Petterssons on Vancouver. Let's not forget that. It's 2 Elias Petterssons and 1 Marcus Pettersson. All Pettersson, all spelled the same way.
Love that. Which Pettersson?
They're just
Elias spelled differently.
No, Elias is the same.
Is it? I thought.
Yeah, it's all identical. No, I'm pretty sure they're all identical. Awesome. So Pettersson and JT Miller have allegedly not been getting along. It's been a locker room issue. It's causing Pettersson to not play as well as he can. I got a hot take on Pettersson. You ready for this?
What's that?
Not that great. Not that great.
You don't think he's that good?
No.
I think it's a head case.
I think when I look at Saku Koivu, that guy competed every single day, went to work hard, played it out. And I look at a guy like Elias Pettersson, and I'm like, why aren't you taking after that guy? Why are you taking, like, you look at the Sedins, they came in, they worked their ass off. Every single... Daniel and Henrik were not body checking hard, but they were finishing plays. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't running guys over. But they were playing hard. They were always grinding out their goals, grinding out their minutes. I feel like Elias Pettersson is always, like, lazy. Maybe I'm wrong. But he always looks like he does not, like he looks completely disinterested in hockey. Like this is something that he happened to be good at and he's getting paid for, so he feels like he has to do it. But he really rather be like at art camp or something.
He's paid to be the best player on that team, and very rarely does he look it.
Not even close. At best, 4th or 5th. At best.
I don't think I'm as harsh on him as you are, but I do think that he's gotten a lot of he's been overhyped at least the last year and 2 years, really since he signed that contract. Where was he in the playoffs last year? Where was? And if you're going to attribute all that to a beef with JT Miller, I think that's a little fucking ridiculous. The guy's not playing well.
JT Miller was hard ass on him, and chewed him out for his lack of play.
He's paid to be that guy, and when you're not that guy and you're not carrying yourself or holding yourself accountable, really, like, of course somebody's gonna get on you, especially a guy like JT Miller, who's like pretty fucking fiery. Watch any Canucks game, he's talking, you can hear him yelling at some point.
He's also trying to win, and he's been on a Rangers team that has gone on a bit of a run. He's a guy that knows what it takes. After the trade, post-trade, looks like a W for the Rangers.
Yeah, lighting it up.
It's kind of an L trade for the Canucks.
He had a
You were
no
in a
trade clause
position.
too, by the way. He had to waive that to get out of there.
Pedersen should have been the guy they dealt, in
I
my opinion.
agree, and apparently the Canucks locker room agrees too. There's a report that they
Still
are
wouldn't be surprised.
not happy that uh, Pedersen was
Pedersen's
not
left.
dealt, and
Yeah.
JT Miller was.
Get ready, buckle up, Canucks fans. Don't be surprised if Pedersen is
Yeah,
also dealt.
this is not over. It's not a
I'm
happy
pretty sure
house right now.
it's a very unhappy house. You can't win like that.
Nope. And this is a team that should
Can't
be
win like
winning. Like that team last year
yeah.
was nasty for 3/4 of the season.
If not for Archer Shelov's having to be your starting goaltender in the playoffs, there's a good chance that they could have been competing for the cup.
Yeah. And now
I'm not saying 100%,
you go
but
from
like,
that to a few months later, you're talking about potentially two of your best players off this team
got to get them off.
because they can't get along. At least one of them is already gone.
Ugly.
Decent haul for them too, the Canucks in that first round
I
pick.
don't think so.
I mean, I don't think
Good,
it's
but
over anywhere like over the top. I think Colorado got a better haul back for Rantanen.
they did.
But I mean,
They
I'm
did.
not upset with it if I'm. I mean, I'm upset that JT Miller's gone because of some stupid shit. But if he was going to be traded, I'd be like, all right, got a first round, got Scheidel, Mancini.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, but if you're Vancouver, you got to fix this locker room in a hurry.
Quickly, or
No
it's just
Hughes.
gonna keep getting worse.
Four Nations face-off is coming. Do you care about that? I don't.
I don't. Are people talking at work today about it too? It seems like they don't care either.
RC says you think Elias and JT would meet at Four Nations. That could be wild. Maybe. See, JT
That
Miller's
could be fun.
good. Four Nations, I'll watch. I'll watch it because I like hockey, and I'll cheer for my country because I like Canada. But I'm not. I'm not super invested in this process. It's like it's a round robin tournament, so everybody's going to play everybody, and it's like wins are worth 3, and then it's like soccer scoring. So they have different point systems, and the top 2 point finishers will face each other for the final. It's not like a playoff. It's just like get the most points out of your games, and you move on to the final.
I'm out on it. I won't be watching. I got pirate shit to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're putting tariffs on goals. I don't want to talk. This is the no tariff show. I'm talking about that shit. I have to listen to it all day, every day from everyone. Fuck that. Not happening here. We will talk about. We'll talk about MLB. You got a
Oh yeah,
rotations thing.
yeah.
Let's
So
get
I
into
have a
that.
list that is. I found it for before last. I almost said last week, but we weren't here last week. 2 weeks ago, before the show, and we just kind of ran out of time. I never got to it, but it
I was being
is
procrastinating
MLB's
last week.
10 best rotations of the past 30 years. It was probably because of the Choose Your Own Adventure Stone story that we didn't get to it. That ended up being like 30 minutes long.
It was the best though. It was so much fun.
If I could do that more often, I would. But it was just very specific situation. Um,
Yeah.
so 10 best rotations of the past 30 years. They're not all Dodgers, despite popular belief. But honorable mention. I feel like you might be mad that they didn't make the list. 2003 Oakland A's. Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, Mark Mulder, Ted Lilly. Those are the guys listed. Tim Hudson 2.7 ERA, 16-7. Barry Zito 14-12 with a 3.30 ERA, 35. All these guys started 25 plus games, by the way.
That's the difference, man.
I don't know. I feel like that they should have made the list. I don't
They
know who
probably.
I would have kicked out, but anyway.
Right.
Number 10, 2018 Cleveland Guardians. Corey Kluber, like prime Klubot,
Yeah.
Corey Kluber. Uh,
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer, 2.21 ERA, 12-6. Cookie Carrasco, Pre illness, 17-10, 3.3 ERA. Mike Clevenger, 3.02 ERA, 32 games started, and Shane Bieber, 11-5 with a 4.5 ERA. But we know what he would end up being.
Was that rookie Beebs?
I believe
Might have been.
so. If it not rookie
That
second
was
season, but I think it was rookie.
my favorite part of that list is that Bauer Outage is now going back to Japan and claiming that he's like the third best player in Major League Baseball and he can't get a contract because he's been blackballed. I'm just gonna say it and let you know. If you were blackballed, that's one thing, but I don't think you were blackballed. I just don't think people like you. People just don't like that guy.
No, he's a bit of a dick.
He's more of a problem to deal with than his stats are worth. Even if he gave you, let's say, sub 3 ERA, which would be great, no one would be upset about that. He would make your locker room a poison. He's the worst, absolute worst. Enjoy your sushi, Bauer Outage.
Sushi
Enjoy
and
it.
anime. Sushi, anime, and
Yep.
strikeouts. Trevor
Yep.
Bauer t-shirt incoming. 2019
Yep.
Washington Nationals, Steven Strasburg, 3.32 ERA. Max Scherzer, 2.92, only 27
Perfect,
starts. Patrick Corbin, 3.25, and Anibal Sanchez, who I think makes another one of these, which is kind of wild.
That's amazing.
Underrated pitcher, by the way.
That Nats roadie was pretty phenomenal.
I mean, it's the reason they won.
Yeah.
Their pitching
Then they
was
traded Juan
nasty.
Soto like a bunch of jabronis.
Yep, and now you get to suffer for another decade and a half like you did previously. Number 8, 2001 Diamondbacks. This is more of a two-headed monster. But putting prime Kurt Schilling and prime Randy Johnson in the same rotation is that's unfair. It's unfair.
They were so good.
Schilling
They were
22-6, 2.98 ERA. Johnson 21-6, 2.49.
Pretty sure I did a.
Each of them had more than
armchair-
290 strikeouts. Johnson had 372 this season.
Pretty sure I did an armchair commentary episode on the 01 D-backs. So
Shout out, throwback. Somebody go find it.
go check it out.
2021
What?
Dodgers, which is not the last time they're on this list. Walker Buehler, 2.47, his best season. Julio Urias, noted bad guy, 20-3 with a 2.96 ERA, which is fucking ridiculous. Clayton Kershaw did not play a whole lot. Max Scherzer did not play a whole lot. Trevor Bauer did not play a whole lot. Tony Gonsolin did not play a whole lot. David Price and Dustin May, same story. But all of those guys were fantastic when they were on the mound. None of them had an ERA over 4.03, and only one of them had an ERA over 3.2.
That's stupid.
That's ridiculous. Say what you want about the Dodgers. I mean, their pitching's always going to be fucking good. 2016 Chicago. Doesn't matter if it's a rookie prospect. They always have great pitching. 2016 Chicago Cubs. A fun moment in time. John Lester, Kyle Hendricks, Jake Arrieta, John Lackey, and Jason Hamill. Jake Arrieta was fun.
Yeah, he was.
He was a nobody for a while, and then all of a sudden he figured out how to pitch, and he was unhittable for a few seasons. I love the prime of pitchers should be studied. There's certain greats that stick around where they're really good for a long time, and then there's certain guys that'll get shelled for like a 5 ERA for some seasons, and then they come out and throw 2 or 3 years of really good base. I don't know. Pitchers are always just boggled my mind. How up and down there, especially relievers. Relievers will do it by the year. One year they're unhittable, the next year they can't. They're like barely making a roster, and then they're unhittable again.
Joiner, we did break the news, Joiner. We just we're not dancing. No songs.
Yeah, no dance from me, brother. Get some celebratory celebratory substances, but no dancing.
Yeah.
Not on the show, at least. Number 5 here, we got 2010 San Francisco Giants. By the way, any problem with any of these rotations? These all sound right to you?
I would have put no. You know what? The Jake Arrieta Cubbies, I probably would have put further down the list, and I probably would have had that A's roadie in.
That A's
above
roadie,
that.
I think, got hoed a little bit. They should be higher up than an honorable mention. They should at least be on the list.
I don't know how you can not have them on the list, but you have Jake Arrieta, and they're good. They were a great rotation.
They were awesome for literally 1 year. Like, as a year, they were awesome for 1 year. 2010 Giants. This one's fun.
Freak.
I just remember this rotation being on ESPN like every single day. One of them did something awesome.
They're stupid.
Tim Lincecum, prime freak Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain, who was just like the definition of consistent for his entire career, Barry Zito, the end of Barry Zito, but still Barry Zito, Madison Bumgarner, and Jonathan Sanchez. Sanchez 13-9, 307. Great.
Mad Bum was kind of fun. Lincecum was a moment in time.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for him because he'll never make the Hall of Fame. He's never going to be remembered as like one of the all-time great pitchers.
He was the most dominant pitcher on the planet for like 2 years, 3 years. Yeah.
That's it. You couldn't touch the guy. He was unbelievable. So much fun. Oh, man. Dennis Schroeder's now heading to Utah.
Danny Ainge is cooking. Did you see? I meant to mention this when we were doing the Luka thing. The Jazz were involved in that trade too, and Danny Ainge didn't know Luka and AD were involved until about 30 minutes before the trigger was pulled. But he had been in conversation with them for a couple weeks about it.
So Dennis Schroeder's going to Utah, and Kyle Anderson's going to Toronto. NBA's on drugs tonight.
There's no holds barred. Everything is on the table now. Nobody's untouchable. I saw somebody say the only untouchable player in the NBA right now is Bronny. Changed my mind, and I can't. He actually is the only untouchable player in the league because he won't go anywhere that LeBron doesn't go.
I don't understand any of this. It makes no sense.
It's wild. I'm telling you, as soon as that trade got made, every single executive went, well, fuck. All the rules are out the window. This is the Wild West now.
All right, you ready for this?
You thought the NBA was crazy with moves already? Like, shit just got flipped.
No, we got more breaking news. Jimmy Butler has also agreed to a new 2-year, $121 million extension with Golden State.
So that's their guy then. I don't think they can make another move.
All right, here's what we got. The Warriors get Butler. The Heat get Wiggins, PJ Tucker, and the first-round pick. The Pistons get Lindy Waters III, Josh Richardson, and a second-round pick. The Jazz get Dennis Schroeder, and the Raptors get Kyle
NBA joint passed around constantly.
Kyle Anderson to the Raptors, Schroeder to the Jazz. What do you even say to this? What a mess.
That's a mess. Like that's
a 5-team deal.
I know. My original thought when you read the package, when you originally broke the news, was like, oh, that's a pretty good haul. Now I don't know what to think about anything. That's a fucking mess.
So the Warriors literally get Jimmy Butler and then gave him $121 million for the next 2 years.
Then they sprinkled assets around to just make salaries work.
And then the Heat take Wiggins. They get PJ Tucker, and they have a first-round pick that was from the Heat or from the Warriors.
Yeah.
The Pistons get Lindy Waters, Josh Richardson, and a second-round pick.
Lindy Waters sounds like a country star.
It does. It does sound like a country star. Lindy Waters III.
Get that new Lindy album.
Random Kyle Anderson to the Raptors, just because. Why not? There you go. Breaking news.
He's fun to watch.
All right. What do we got?
That's NBA.
Rotation.
Wild,
what's the last rotation?
We got four more. Number 4, 2013 Detroit Tigers, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Anibal Sanchez again.
That's 3 Scherzers, by the way.
Doug, I swear I didn't, Fister, Rick Porcello. A lot of Cy Youngs in that list there. Max Scherzer, Verlander, Porcello. The next season, I think they got David Price.
Yes.
Sanchez had the lowest ERA in the AL out of all those names, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that absolutely needs to be up.
2018 Houston Astros, Verlander, Cole, Charlie Morton, Dallas Keuchel, not exactly in his prime, but still a really low ERA. And then Lance McCullers Jr., who kind of never panned out the way.
Anything else after? Yeah.
Um,
All right.
Framber Valdez was also a rookie in that. Number 2, which this is the best modern day. I mean, they're both modern day, but in my lifetime at least, the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies is the best rotation I've ever seen. Roy Halladay, 19-6, 2.35 ERA. Your guy, Doc.
Threw a no-hitter.
Cliff Lee, prime Cliff Lee, 17-8, 2.4 ERA. Cole Hamels, all 3 of those guys finished top 5 in Cy Young voting that year. And then their number 4 was Roy Oswalt, which, like, when Roy Oswalt is your number 4 pitcher, you're doing something right. Vance Worley had a really good season that year, too, for them. 11-3, 3.01 ERA, 21 games started. Lee had 6 shutouts. Halladay and Lee both received votes for MVP.
Yeah.
Phillies starters led the majors in ERA, whip, strikeouts, and complete games. 18 complete games. That's unheard of now.
I did do an episode on the 2011 Phillies.
That staff is nasty. And then the number
100%
number one all time is the 98 Braves.
Of course it is.
Greg Maddux, Tom
But
Glavine, John Smoltz, Denny Nagel, and
We
Kevin
really-
Millwood.
Do we really think that the Phillies, like, should we put a cap on that and be like, yeah, we know the Braves are stupid good, but that Phillies rotation, man, I don't know.
The Braves is like a cheat code. Like, I feel like they did the 30-year thing for this article just to put the 98 Braves in there. Because 25, they don't make it.
To me, I feel like we're at a point in time now where that Phillies rotation may have surpassed them. Like, looking back at that and looking what pitching has become. In the last 10 years, have we seen any rotation come close to that? I don't think so.
If it is, it's a
Perfect
Dodgers
game.
rotation.
Perfect game with, like, deep playoff runs. Like,
I think
like,
it was
that's-
RC.
You know, I don't know. I don't like it. Yes, he had a perfect game in 11, and then he threw a no-hitter in the playoffs that same year.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
I
it
just
was
remember when
most-
he got traded to the Phillies, and then I was like, oh no. That rotation is unstoppable.
It was
They're
it was such a
unhittable.
sad day as a Jays fan
Oh, I bet.
because you were doing right by the player, giving him a chance to win late in his career, but also recognizing that he was like the franchise for a lot of really bad years.
True or false, the 2025 LA Dodgers will be on this list. If we were to
False.
redo it next year.
False.
I agree.
I think they get lit up.
Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, Landon Knack, Shohei Ohtani expected to be rotation options.
I mean, they have 11 starting pitchers. They don't need to worry about a rotation.
Right.
Nobody's gonna play more than 11 games. You don't need to start 25 games. Everybody's gonna start half as many.
And they're only going to pitch like 5 1/3.
They'll only pitch 5 1/3. It'll be something ridiculous like that. All right. Let's move to football. If you're good with that.
Do you want to talk that umpire real quick?
Oh yeah, we should talk the umpire. What? It's 2025. There have been multiple people suspended for gambling in other sports. Baseball, in particular, has a zero tolerance policy, so much so that the all-time leader in hits was not elected to the Hall of Fame because of gambling. And you thought, it's probably okay to have a shared betting account with my friend, though. It's probably okay, though, right?
Well, Manny and Clemens
It's
are
not
in the
gonna be a
show this
problem.
year. Like, oh, they're easing up.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's
I
the stupidest thing I've ever
from
seen.
a really good umpire too. He was the one that had the perfect game in the World Series a couple years ago. Like, he's the most efficient ball strike ump in the MLB. And from the looks of it, the whole probe and investigation, like, there's absolutely zero evidence that he bet on MLB himself and that he had anything to do with altering any games. Doesn't
Correct.
matter.
I would assume so.
It-
I would assume so. This
it
isn't
still
a
doesn't
Tim
excuse
Donaghy.
how fucking dumb you are for even allowing this to be the case. And then the deleting of messages, the Tom Brady, well, I'm getting sued, so of course I'm going to delete my messages. He was like, well, I just didn't want people to see how much I was betting. It's like, all right, well, it's probably the least bit of issue in this whole thing. So maybe go with a different
Of
alibi.
all the leagues to do this in, this is like the least forgiving of
They
all
don't
the
give a
sports
fuck.
leagues.
They don't care what you done
There
for the
is like
sport.
their number, like you just have to look at it. You go, Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame, and that should tell you exactly how they feel about the issue. He has more hits than anybody on planet Earth in baseball ever. Rest in peace. And never got into the Hall of Fame. Didn't even get close. Was banned. He was almost unbanned a couple of times, and he's like, "Nah, I just like the chase. I'm going to keep betting." And they were like, "Can't let you in then. can't let you in. Gotta say no to
True
that."
degenerate.
He was into it. So like, it sucks. It sucks that a good umpire got caught up in this, but like, don't do that. Like, you have so many other things that you could be doing. Like, you could be fishing or bird watching. Like, there are 100 other activities you could do
You
that
could
don't
also
involve
just
betting, which could jeopardize your job.
you could just not bet on sports too. Like you could
That's what
like
I'm
there's
saying.
still a casino.
Oh,
Like go play blackjack. If you really have a fucking gambling addiction, go do something else. Like you don't have to bet on sports. And the fact that you're doing it through shady means, like you're like,
it
oh
makes
well,
it
I have
worse.
it's a shared account. I only use it when I'm in this state. Like again, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he's just stupid.
Same. I think he's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think he impacted games.
No.
I don't think he
And he's
tried to
eligible
throw
for
that.
reinstatement in like 2026, I think. So it's like he'll be back. He's 38 and he's one of the best umps they have.
Yeah. He's got a few years before he gets to Joe West level, so
Yeah.
that's when you can't see anymore and you start singing country songs. All right, we have some sort of big game coming up this weekend. Chiefs,
DEFCON
Birds.
Super Bowl DEFCON 5 edition. It's the worst case scenario.
Go Birds.
I guess. I don't want either to happen, but yeah, I want the Eagles to win if anybody's gonna
Go
win.
Birds, I guess. I'm cheering for Saquon Barkley and Saquon Barkley only.
I have looking at stats and stuff. I have talked myself into the Eagles winning this. I do think they're going to.
All right, well, let's start with the Birds. How can the Birds win this game? Because I'm not going to sit here and talk about. Everybody knows that there's going to be a lean. I don't want to hear the refs one time in this conversation. Not one time. I want to hear someone say the referees. Because I swear to God, if this Super Bowl comes down to the refs, I'm going to flip it.
It's going to come down to a 4th and 1 where the line judges can't agree and it goes to the white hat, and I'm going to get to bitch again about the same stupid fucking rule. That's the biggest crime of this NFL season, is that a game came down to that. Anyway, for the Eagles to win, I think it's pretty simple. You need to get pressure on Mahomes. Your defense has been playing incredibly well. You've got 10 sacks in the playoffs so far, 4 turnovers through just interceptions. I think they have a couple fumble recoveries as well. Jalen Carter's been an absolute monster up front, stopping the run and just getting involved. It starts with Saquon Barkley, obviously. If you're able to get the run game going and take the pressure off of Jalen Hurts, I think everybody knows how I feel about Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think when the game is on the line, he's the guy you want shouldering the burden. Saquon Barkley, however, yes, especially behind that offensive line. And the Chiefs are susceptible to the run. Last 2 games, they've given him 140 plus rushing yards to to Buffalo, and Houston. So Saquon Barkley's got to be salivating at that. Like they just let up 140 to those guys. I'm Saquon fucking Barkley.
I think Saquon's got to look at it like he's got to be the reason they win, Correct. And I think they need to lean on the run early and often, and get away from it. And that could be RPOs though. That could be RPOs, but they've got to get Saquon involved to a point where Kansas City has to start to game plan. Not that they're not going to. Spagnuolo is going to game plan for Barkley, whatever that means, and no one has been able to stop him all year at over 2,000 rush yards. Like no one's been able to hold him in at.
We lose Armchair. You get one buffer per show from AC. I with Jalen Hurts. When's the last time he won a game? Like it was fully like Jalen Hurts went out and won that game, because I can't tell you the last time it happened. Is that going to happen in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, who are going for a three-peat? I fucking doubt it. It has to be on Saquon Barkley, and the Chiefs know that too. They're going to be lining up everybody they possibly can to stop him. They're going to make Jalen Hurts beat them, which is what they should do. And talk about Chiefs' keys to victory. Like that's what you have to do. You have to make Jalen Hurts beat you, not Saquon Barkley. You cannot allow the run to get going. When's the last time you seen Jalen Hurts make a play without his legs that didn't involve Dallas Goedert underneath making run after the catch, or his receivers winning a 50-50 ball?
Not how they're going to win.
It's the only time they move the ball through the air, those two things. Another thing for the Eagles, Chiefs really love going horizontal. They run a lot of screen passes. They get the running backs involved. They like to go. Mahomes ran all over the place. He had 4 first downs with his legs in the first half against Buffalo. Eagles are number 1 in the league defensively against plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. If they can do that against the Chiefs, exactly. The Chiefs are going to have a really hard time getting the ball downfield against guys like Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Blankenship, and all. That secondary is nasty. Darius Slay. There's not a ton of depth behind those guys. If one of them goes down, it's going to be scary, but something's telling me the Eagles are going to win this game, dude. Everything just sort of points that way. The only reason, like, if you're looking at this on paper, the only reason the Chiefs win this is because it's the Chiefs. And they have Black Magic, Voodoo, Taylor Swift, whatever it is.
I don't know.
Did we lose you again? Cricket. AC hit the crickets again. For the fun fact too, Vic Fangio 0-7 against Patrick Mahomes. Are we back? Welcome back. The cloth is not treating you well tonight.
I don't know what's going on with it. We had a couple of dropouts today, but it is what it is. All right, Kansas City. I'll talk Kansas City.
Yeah, let's do it. The opposite of what I said for the Eagles, you really have to stop Saquon Barkley. I think they're going to. I think they're going to force Jalen Hurts to make a play. But, I mean, you have Trent McDuffie, who's one of the best man coverage guys in the league.
George Karlaftis finds his way into everything.
Everything. He always is making a play.
A
the Chiefs always have those no-name guys up front around Chris Jones, those defensive linemen that nobody's ever heard of, but then all of a sudden he's got 2 sacks today. Oh, he's been in the backfield all day. Like, they just find a way to win. Jordan, as a Bill Belichick guy, I don't think he's that far off. He's 3 playoff wins behind Bill right now, which is kind of wild. He's only 3 playoff wins behind Bill Belichick. That just doesn't sound right coming off the tongue, but Andy Reid is a hell of a coach. It doesn't really matter the personnel. That whole Chiefs coaching staff, Spags, everybody, like they just find a way. And that's what the Patriots did through their entire dynasty. It's what the Chiefs are doing through theirs right now. God, I hope it ends. This is just a lose-lose. I have to listen to Jalen Hurts defenders if the Eagles win, and then I have to listen to Chiefs 3-peat bullshit for the rest of eternity if the Chiefs win. That goddamn rule, Armchair. It was a first down. The third down was a first down.
Yeah, it was, but whatever.
It is what it is. What do you think?
All right.
Where are you leaning?
I'm leaning Philly. I think the Eagles have the more dynamic player in Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
He's the game breaker.
He is. That's it. Literally,
I
the game
think that
hinges on one player, which is crazy.
if Barkley gets free, game is over. And he can do it a different. He can catch passes. He's not one dimensional.
Yep.
So like he can do a lot. I
The
think that
amount of
you're also
times
looking
where
at
this season where he's gotten the ball and there's just it looks like a regular play
he's
where
untouched.
he's going to get stopped and then all of a sudden he just sees something. Philly gets a blocker out there and it's one move and he's gone.
He's gone.
Kill shot.
He's 100. He's 100 feet down the
Philly
down
has
the
8
field,
plays
like,
this year
untouched.
of 50 or more yards. They've only allowed 1. Like that's most of them are Saquon Barkley.
It's Jalen Carter. It's Saquon more than anything, and it's that secondary. It's Cooper DeJean more than anything, but the rest of that secondary, Quinyon Mitchell, like those guys are good. They're all really good. So if those guys play the way that they can, and you take Jalen Hurts out of the equation and you just ask him to hand the ball off and RPO when he needs to and hit the tight end or hit either Smith or Brown on a cross or something, like just enough to make it seem like you can pass the ball, then yeah, Philly stands a chance. If not, it's Kansas City's game. Their defense is the reason they keep winning one-score games, and it keeps being by ridiculous manner, and the whole thing is ridiculous. I can't have Kansas City win. I can't live with that off season. I can deal with Jalen Hurts being a Super Bowl winning quarterback because Saquon gets it. Also, it's
that's the only way
that the Giants are like.
Yes, that is
the
true
Giants
too.
giving that was it Joel Schoen or whatever it is, the GM. Yeah. It's not like he's going to run for like 2,000 yards or anything. Check. Or win a Super Bowl. Check. Like,
Giants
it would just be
again.
It would just be poetic that the Giants were like, we should let Saquon go so we can focus on other areas. It's not like he's really good or anything. And then
you cut
that's
Daniel
what comes
Jones.
back. Not Daniel Jones. That's our guy.
Joyner, I'm personally hoping for like a Bane movie type action scene, but Meteor works too. Whatever stops the game from being played. They're just like, yeah, sorry, we have to cancel the Super Bowl this year. There's no winner.
And Joyner asked about Andy Reid being greatest coach if he wins. No, still behind Bill.
I think he's still behind Bill, but he's very close. He's the closest.
He's not.
It's the closest I think anybody's going to get.
He's got a lot of wins to catch up, man.
I mean, winning in the playoffs, like
he's playoff wins. Even I think he's still behind
by 3.
Well, those ones are the ones that matter. Those ones are the ones that matter. All right, get us out of here. You got a couple of Stone stories for us.
Before I do that, let's talk about a good Super Bowl for a second.
Oh, buddy,
the 8 years ago, 8-year anniversary of 28-3, the greatest comeback in sports history. Tom Brady's finest moment.
I'm on the couch and I'm watching, and I'm like, I can't get mad because it's going to ruin my night.
I remember this game minute by minute. This is the game I think I remember the most. Like, just I remember like almost every play.
I remember to me, it's just above the interception on the goal line, which is also a phenomenal game.
Though that was both of those games were just incredible.
I remember watching the second half. Like, you're like, all right, let's start. Just get a point, like get a touchdown and get a stop, and then like see if you can make something happen, and at least make it not a blowout. And then it was like, all right, well, there's a score, and like I rewatched some of it today, and it was like the guys on like Amendola was dialed in.
Yeah,
Edelman was dialed in. Like,
just the Edelman catch alone off the turf shows how dialed in he was. Like, the concentration to make that catch is just that game was over right there. It was a bad throw by Brady. It was a great play by Alford, or Poole or Alford, one of them. Both of them were fantastic that entire game. And Edelman just somehow got that ball, and I caught it. I know I caught it. Like,
he got it.
He got it.
He had it.
One of the
And then
best
it was
catches
like
of
James,
all time. And
and like
the fact that
the
that
amount of
almost all got
potential,
wiped out by the Julio Jones catch. Like, oh my God, we're going to lose
which
another Super Bowl on some crazy ass fucking catch, which is the same with the Seattle. The Jermaine Curse that caught it with
yep,
falling over
just,
between his legs
yeah,
or whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
Julio Jones catch.
Julio
The
makes
fact
that,
that they
and it's a sack. Is that right?
the Hightower sack, which Matt Patricia was just on Julian Edelman's podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about specifically that play. And I guess they
Looks good,
knew,
by the way.
huh?
Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia looking good.
Looks great.
Lost a whole bunch of weight.
I saw the top comment on that podcast was only half of Patricia showed up for the show. But yeah, he was detailing that play, and like they knew Atlanta was going to pass because Freeman got popped, or Tevin Coleman got popped a couple plays before that and wasn't out there for third down, and they basically audibled into pass coverage, and Hightower, they dropped him from the middle down onto the edge because they knew nobody was going to pick him up. And he comes free right off the edge. They're passing on third down in field goal range, and they get that strip sack to not only knock them out of field goal range, but obviously the fumble. And then all of a sudden the game just flipped from there. No more mistakes from the Patriots. The Falcons were, from that moment on, they looked uncomfortable. They were on cruise control for a while, and that defense was so tired.
My two favorite things that happened in that game were the after the game, watching the quotes from some of the Falcons players who was like, "Yeah, but he's Tom Brady though."
Yeah,
Like they were
yeah.
there were some people that were like, "I'm not like, yeah, we're winning, but like let's not take our foot off the gas." And then they did. And the other one is seeing Arthur Blank come down at in the third quarter when they were up. Celebrating with his players on the sideline, thinking that they had won the Super Bowl, mostly because he looks like just a real rich asshole.
Yeah, coming down at halftime to
like,
be on the sidelines to celebrate, and then having to
it's a bold move.
stay there as you make
bold...
blow the biggest lead in Super Bowl history. Like
it
was just so improbable, move. And how perfect Brady was in the second half and overtime.
Sweet feet White.
James White was incredible. It was just so many good memories from that game.
Everybody was clutch.
Yep. Malcolm Mitchell.
Give me some stones. Malcolm Mitchell, man.
Nasty. Yeah, we got a Stone story tonight. I don't actually know where this is. Fort McMurray. I don't know if that's in Canada or...
That's in Canada.
That's what I thought.
It's in Canada.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, Fort McMurray Emergency Service recently had their hands full saving a man after he became frozen to a sidewalk. You all seen this this story before? Like, oh, I touch your tongue to that pole. Frozen pole. See what happens. On January 12th, an intoxicated man was involved in a dispute that initially took place inside the East Village pub and eatery. The argument spilled into the street and a fight ensued. During the altercation, the man, who was clearly very heavily intoxicated, his pants, they fell down. You never want to be in a fight to begin with. Like, don't fight. Just smoke a little weed. Calm down. Yeah. It's not that deep.
Just calm down. Yeah.
You really never want to have your pants down if you're going to be fighting in the first place. Like, don't fight. You really don't want to lose your pants if you're fighting. Falls down to the ground. It's so cold out that, those Canada winters. Face down on the pavement, dick out, goes to get up. He's not going anywhere.
Uh-oh.
Immediate dick frozen to the sidewalk. And fight over. Which... Good on whoever he was fighting to just be like, yeah, I won this.
Yeah,
this is a win.
Yeah, that's
because
let's get you some help, fella.
A worse man could have just curb stomp on the ice. Like, this man's dick he's done. He can't move. He gets glue trap, done. Rat and glue trap.
Yeah, yeah.
EMS managed to detach the man's penis from the ice without injury or inadvertent circumcision, which is sounds like a really good metal band. Like some real deep cut. Like, we are inadvertent circumcision. This is Stank
Oh,
Puss
man.
234. He was arrested for the fight, but not charged with any crime. They're like, come with us. We'll drunk tank you. We'll get you some, probably not ice, maybe a heating pack.
Maybe he.
You'll be on your way in the morning. But just
You'll
an
be fine. Sleep it
absolute
off.
nightmare scenarios, man. As I was reading this, I like flinched. Like, oh god, oh god.
That wouldn't feel nice.
No, it was like
Nothing about that is.
when I did a sleep study when I was back in like middle school, maybe early high school, and they have to hook up all these wires to you with this like fucking glue. And I had this
Yeah.
I've never met a straighter looking, more manly nurse in my life. This dude was like 6'6", jacked, like deep ass voice, and he was ripping these things off of my body in the morning when I like wake and I'm like, all right, let's just like, I'm trying to peel them off a little bit, and he's like, nah, we got to get you out of here. I'm like, oh, that's all I could picture, but just jacked up to like 100. Like having to peel yourself off the ice. Fuck that. Give me a heat gun. Let's do it that way.
Yeah, we'll
Thaw me
I'll
out.
wait it.
You're not peeling me
Give me
off
a bit
with the
of warm
threat
water
of
and we'll-
inadvertent circumcision. No,
No.
thank you. I'll pass.
No, thank you. Hey, it was an eventful episode. We had like double breaking news.
Yeah.
Never get breaking news. We had double
breaking
breaking
news.
news. This might be the first and one of the only that we ever talk about hoopy hoops. We don't really do the NBA here, but unless the Celtics are in the championship, and then we talk about it because Dub's probably watching.
Yeah.
Happens. Check out some of our early stuff. You'll see.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
see. You see it.
Can't wait to
we'll
go
be
back
next
to
week.
back and double down on it.
Yeah, we got more for you next week. We might have an intro song. We're moving up. Don't forget to share it out, like the episode,